Okay, so we're looking at any box. So we just, picked a random box here. That's why we ended up on 5-7. We have this chart identifies where you are. So we're in the E box here. See, E is the bottom string shape, 7√2, but it's masked out just to show the 5-7-2 and the 7th. Okay, the 7th of the 5th is the 4th, so it's showing the 4th, and it has the color. So the little colors are where the 7th of that mode is. That is the 4th in the key of C, the G mode, Mixolydian. So the shape now is going to be C. Remember, it's 1-4-5 again, so it's E. Now we can't get that C except for the bottom here. And then we can kind of steal the top one here, the fifth of let's see, 2-5-7, 2-5-7 here. The open G, the open B rather. B is, okay, B is the third of the G mode. Alright, 2-5-7, 2-5-7. That's the root, sorry. That's the root. We didn't have to stop and go back or stop and think. So that's our root in the C position, but we don't have the whole position. If we put the capo down here, or just take it off, I'm just resting the capo down here, then we'd have, okay, that kind of thing. So that's it. C becomes the 5th. So that's how to use this chart. So we know where we are. Now let's do another random one. Here, G minor, all of a sudden you stop on this chart and you're wondering, where the heck are we? Okay, we're in the A box right here. We're in the A box. We're looking at G minor, the 6th mode. So G minor is the 6th. Now, how do we get back to the parent if we're on a letter? Upper or lower case? Lower if it's the minor. We go ahead in a pentatonic scale. Pentatonic scale, G, C, D, E, G. I'm really good today. Okay, G goes to A, so it'll be A is its parent. So the box we're looking at now, we're not going to talk about pentatonic, about circles anymore. We're going to move ahead on this. Remember, the relative 5th of this minor 6th, key of C would be, is 5. Okay, 5 is G, is the relative 7th rather of the mode, which is the 6th mode. Okay, the way we're going to look at this is A, D, and E shape. Now, this is a good one because we may not have that many sunken things. Oh, look, it's A, D, it's A, D, and E shape. Okay. Sounds like for once in my life, someone who cares, someone who cares. Okay. So we got that, and we thought, wow, well, we're safe now. No, we're not. We have a nice D minor shaped, but we're not on that shape right now. That would be, D minor would be the relative minor of the 5th, which would be the 3rd, so he'd be way up here. Let's just shift gears here. Here we're on, it looks like one of them things on my Chevy, but mine's out. Mine's out. I have to have a big shadow thing on my panel with a shadow with a shifter, and then I have to drive at the same time every day. No, not really. So in this case we have the a nice D minor shape there, Okay, but when we get to the C minor shape on the fourth, the relative of the fourth, which will go right up here, what do we got? Problemo, 6 2 4 6 2, and then 4 minor isn't even shown on the sunken chart. So it's 6 2 6 2 4, and then can't get that with the capo or the fret nut there, 2, and when we can't get this other 4 up here, but we can get it here on string to 6 again. So what are we going to do? We have to make a chord out of that. So we've got the bottom part of the C shape there, 6 2 4. Okay, so remember, we can get the 6 2 4. If I can do it up here, remember the capo's irrelevant down here if it's way below what we're doing. It's easier than taking it off and putting it on. We'll just leave it on E. Okay, so this is the D minor shape. So you know that's the second minor right there. It's C minor shape, but here it's D minor shape, which would be over here to the left of the diagram. The A minor shape is up here past the C minor shape, so no sharing would get us to that A minor shape D minor. But the C minor shaped is this one. So we've got this. Okay, or we can get these inversions. Now usually in the C shape we should have all inversions. So let's look at this. 6 2 4 starts second inversion. Then we have what after second inversion we've got root. Then we have first inversion. We've got because of the warp now we're up here, we're not straight up for the fourth. Right? So we go root 3, actually go 2 4 6, but it's in its relative, it's root 3 5 root. That fourth between the fifth and the root. Okay, so that's what we have, all the positions in C. Once again, it's second inversion, root, first inversion, second inversion. But we can't get that 6, so we're going to play what we got. In order to play what we got, we're going to add its 7th. So we got like a D minor 7th here. D minor 7th is going to sound like this. Here's the regular. Drop that root 1 modal. Oh, that reminds me. In the cutout, when we do a cutout, let's say we're in the key of C or something. When you do a half of a string shape, you go to the next modal shape, and I showed you that in the long pattern stack. Just remember that. So long pattern stacks, we're pretty much counting 5 6 7 or 5 6 7 root 2 3 4 5 6 7 root. Where are you going? 2 3 4, and you know what the 2 3 4 string shape is. Next up is 5. It's so easy, but with the short string shapes, you tend to do them in the string shape nicknames that we gave them. A, okay, A, fifth of A is E, fifth of E is C in string shape language, not B. It goes to the C shape, C, fifth of C is the G string shape, 6 7 root, fifth of the G string shape is the D string shape warped up, 2 3 4. And then the fifth of the D string shape is the A string shape, 5 6. It's like we gotta hurry up. So to play this half position here, we're gonna go, if you wanted to play it from the bottom, we're gonna add the 7th, because notice on the G string, we don't have the 6, we don't have the 2 in the box that we're looking at. So remember, this is we're no longer looking at the entirety. We're not looking at the entirety of the A tripentatonic, ADE tripentatonic. We are only looking at playing these notes in the white zone here, in the highlighted zone here. This is all we have. The tripentatonic gives us the D position. It gives us, this is nice because it's tripentatonic. It's just not just the 5 root 3 A shape there, action fingers. I had to make that joke. That was kind of uncalled for. But remember, this is the 7th, the modal 7th. Okay, that's the modal 7th. So on the bottom, what we're looking at, and remember, favor the triad notes. So we're not going to worry about this R. We can play with that by lifting up that 2nd down there. That's fine and dandy, right? That is fine and dandy. Okay, and then what we've got, doing this intentionally, I guess, in the key of A. Alright, so I'm not going to be worried about the colors of these notes unless I want to worry about accidentals and all that, because I've got the black notes here, my beloved black notes. When I land on an accidental, I'm so happy to see that my theories are working, and these do not change. Now, in the beginning, I wanted to make, being an engineering major, electrical, I wanted to make this whole thing changeable. So this is like little displays or something, you know, little lights that change colors. You can do it that way too. Just do it in little squares of lights, but these lights are going to change colors, because it doesn't have to be a display for that, you know, for that matter. It could just be they change colors, so you could move this grid up and down effectively. Instead, I just decided to leave the notes there. They're going to stay that way, and we use the CAGED system. So the C minor on the bottom, we're going to get 6, 2, 4, and then that root. Now what's below that root? Well, guess what? Below the root is the 7th. That would be the 7th sharp, that the 7th flatted rather. That would take us out of the key of A if we're doing regular fret nut here, and that would take us, you know, that would make the 4th the 7th. Okay, if you make the 4th the 7th, what key you're in? One whole step lower, so that would put us in the key of G. If we did this, if we want, okay, so we're not going to do that. On the top, we've pretty much got this parent up here. There's the 4. D is the 4th shape now, because remember, it's 1, 4, 5, and let me show you that. Okay, I forgot to show you this little diagram. Remember, so these tripentatonic guys, for instance, the G box here, are 1 and its 6th overlaid with or crossed with 4 and its relative 2nd, and 5 and its relative 3rd. So the relative 6th of G, the G shape is the E shape. Just take the CAGED word ahead one and all that good stuff. The relative, the 4th.